find schools redundant and abandoned for many years. The government is not even aware of their existence. I'm embarrassed to say this, but it's the truth. The government does not even have a defined statistics of how many schools exist within that region. Here are some of the key points about what I consider to be the role that faith-based organizations have played and should play in any society. That includes Africa. Number one.
Thank you for joining us today at Kingdom Secret Rema.
Provision of educational services. Faith-based organizations often operate schools and educational programs that cater to the needs of communities where government-run schools may be inadequate.
In this message, you will listen to what Apostle said when he was delivering his paper, his lecture at Harvard, when he was talking about the influence of Christianity, the influence of faith-based institutions, the influence of Christianity.
These schools are usually run in alignment with the religious values of the organization and often prefer a holistic approach to education that includes moral and character development alongside academic learning.
On the educational landscape of Africa, and that was very, very profound.
Especially rural Africa, you will find many schools, especially from the elementary level, that unfortunately are left at the mercy of non-governmental organizations, churches and religious institutions, has been found wanting on many groups. Community engagement.
You see, Christianity have a lot to do with a lot of influence on the education or landscape of Africa. And as the church continues to grow, as the church continues to develop, there is more that the church can do on pertaining the education of Africa.
Faith-based organizations are deeply embedded within their communities and often have a strong understanding of the local context and needs. Take note of this. It is true that the faith-based organizations within any local environment, they best understand the unique needs of the people, and they are able to design a system that is holistic, but then able to meet the local context of the people. This allows them to tailor educational programs to address specific challenges faced by children and families, such as poverty, cultural barriers, lack of resources, and so on. The third role, promotion of values and ethics. Religious schools and organizations place a strong emphasis on morals and ethical values in education. They often teach virtues such as compassion, respect, and service to others alongside academic subjects. This approach resonates with many families who seek an education that aligns with their religious beliefs and cultural traditions. So for me, this is not just a lecture, this is a reflection of a system that I am today a grateful recipient and a beneficiary of that system.
And the influence can really bring that transformation that Africa have always desired by mentoring the next generations that are coming up and impacting into them the godly values and kingdom principles, kingdom values.
Promotion of values and ethics. In fact, in many institutions of learning, they describe the condition to be a true ambassador of that institution by having knowledge and character. Knowledge and character. Not just knowledge. It is dangerous for an individual to have secular enlightenment without the requisite character. It is knowledge and character that speaks to the development of society, community, and even the continent. The fourth role, teacher training and development. Some faith-based organizations invest in trainings and developing teachers, ensuring that educators are equipped with the skill and the knowledge to provide quality education to students. This can have a positive impact on the overall quality of education in communities where these organizations operate. Number 5, support for vulnerable people. Faith-based organizations often prioritize serving marginalized and vulnerable populations such as orphans, children with disabilities, refugees, among others. They may provide scholarships, food assistance, and other forms of support to ensure that all children have access to education and the opportunity to thrive. 6, advocacy and policy engagement. Some faith-based organizations engage in advocacy and policy efforts to influence educational policies and practices at the national and local level. They may collaborate with government agencies, international organizations, and other stakeholders to improve educational access, educational quality, and inclusiveness for all children. The next point, promotion of interfaith dialogue and understanding. And this is a very important one. In diverse societies with multiple religious traditions, faith-based organizations can play, have played, and continue to play significant roles in promoting interfaith dialogue and understanding through educational initiatives. By bringing together students from different backgrounds, these organizations foster tolerance, respect, cooperation among the religious groups. Let me give you a final point on this. Innovation and experimentation. Some faith-based organizations are at the forefront of educational innovation, implementing new teaching methods, technologies, and curricula to enhance learning outcomes for students. By experimenting with new approaches to education, these organizations contribute to the overall improvement of the educational practice within the African continent. We clearly see that these organizations have played and continue to play a diverse, important, and impactful role in the education across the African soil, contributing to development of human capital, the promotion of values and ethics, the empowerment of communities, among others. By working collaboratively with governments, civil society, and other stakeholders, these organizations can help build a more inclusive, equitable, and quality educational system that benefits everyone, including children, and prepares them for a brighter future. Let me talk for a moment about faith and educational policies in Africa. I wanted to omit this point, but I decided to write it again because I think it's very important, especially within the context of our discussion. Faith plays a significant role in public education and educational policy in Africa, where religion often intersects with culture and influences the values and the beliefs of communities. In many African countries, faith-based and faith-oriented organizations, including but not limited to churches, mosques, and so on and so forth, they play a very crucial role in providing education to children and the youth. These institutions often serve as an extension of the formal educational system, offering alternative options for families seeking to educate their children within the context of their faith. One of the key ways in which faith informs educational policy in Africa is through the values and the principles that underpin religious teachings. Many faith-based educational institutions prioritize moral and ethical development alongside academic learning. This is a key expression here, emphasizing the importance of community, emphasizing the importance of compassion, emphasizing the importance of service to others. In fact, I recall that in many institutions across Africa, especially faith-based institutions, they would always have moments where they practice community services. They could go and clean up a community, and they engage them in extracurricular activities, attempting to foster and to plant within them these religious beliefs in addition to their secular learning. These values often align with traditional African cultural beliefs, reinforcing the idea of education as a means of building character and preparing individuals to contribute positively to society. In some cases, faith-based and religious organizations have also played a direct role in shaping educational policy even at a national level. For instance, the countries where a particular religion holds significant influence, be it Christianity or Islam as the case may be, policymakers may consult with religious leaders and institutions where developing curricula or making decisions about educational matters are concerned. That also includes funding and the development of programs. This interaction between religion and policy can sometimes lead to tensions, especially in diverse societies where different faiths coexist. At the same time, incorporating faith in education can raise important questions about inclusivity and diversity within the public school system. In Africa, for instance, where religious diversity is common, ensuring that all children have access to quality education regardless of their faith background is a key challenge for policymakers. While faith-based schools can offer valuable educational options for some families, there is a need to ensure that public schools remain inclusive and secular spaces where children from all backgrounds feel welcome and respected. Another aspect of the interaction between faith and public education in Africa is the role of religious education in the curriculum. Many African countries include religious studies as part of the formal educational system, reflecting the importance of faith in the lives of many individuals and communities. The content and approach to teaching religious education vary widely, depending on the country and the dominant religious traditions. In recent years, there have been debates about the place of religious education in public schools, with some advocating for a more inclusive and balanced approach that recognizes the diversity of religious beliefs, especially within Africa. As educational systems evolve to meet the changing needs of societies, finding a way to incorporate faith perspectives while respecting secular principles remain a very complex but important goal for policymakers. Overall, the influence of faith and religion in public education and educational policies in Africa is multifaceted, reflecting a complex interplay between religion, culture, and society. While faith-based institutions play a valuable role in providing education and promoting moral values, there is still a need for policymakers to navigate the challenges of ensuring inclusivity, diversity, and quality in the public educational. Faith-based organizations play a significant role in education across Africa, often supplementing, or even these organizations include churches, mosques, religious schools, non-governmental organizations with religious affiliations, making leading formal educational efforts in many communities.